Welcome back to Real Talk with Coach Bill Flanagan. Today we are going to be talking about the various number of changes over the hockey landscape, whether that be playing style, coaching style, rule changes within the game, and just level of compete overall. So my biggest question for you that I'm most curious about is how have you seen players change over the course of your coaching career in how they approach the game and in their playing style?
Yeah, a very complex question. So I think incrementally over the years, I've seen significant changes. I've seen changes, um, positive and negative. Like anything else, I mean, every generation of hockey player that moves through presents something a little bit different. Again, pros and cons, good, bad. What are they? First off, there's so much more opportunity right now in the game. The hockey environment itself, in terms of where to play, must be confusing to parents that are trying to make decisions for their son or daughter. There are so many programs, so many teams, unfortunately, I think, because, again, I think we get to a system where unfortunately, a lot of teams and programs aren't held accountable for what they do and what they don't do. So that's number one. I mean, there's a lot of choices out there. So that's a con, in my opinion, in terms of just a player and a parent trying to decide where they're going to play and go forward with their future. And obviously, during these developmental age groups that we have here at the academy, these are so critical, such critical years, 14s, 15s, 16s.
If you were to look at two, hockey programs for Callie, let's say Callie was starting, at the beginning, and you were looking for a program for her, what is the biggest thing you look for in a program? Because you said there's so many. So what are like the top three, let's say top three things that a program must have if parents are looking at that for their kids?
Reputation and experience and history is number one. They have to combine that. They have to have a proven track record. That program has to have a proven track record of sustainability, placing players in college, developing players, and it has to be proven. It can't just be talked about and can't be, wished upon. It has to be, They have to have concrete evidence. Number two, it's the coach. It's got to be the coach. The coach has to have experience. The coach has to be a hockey person. The coach has to be relatable, genuine. And as a parent, I researched the coaches that Callie played for. Callie played for a terrific guy in high school. Great guy. Wasn't a high-end hockey player, but was a terrific person, and very organized and cared about his players. And she did really well there. And then she chose Boston College for a college experience to play for Courtney Kennedy and Katie King Crowley, two Olympians and two women role models that I wanted Callie to emulate, quite frankly. So, and the third thing would be, just overall facilities. I mean, what facilities do you have? Because without facilities, you have nothing. You have zero. You can't pretend to have a weight room or make a weight room. We have a weight room that kids can go into whenever they want. We have an ice rink that we can have the ice times that the kids need and want. Where, we don't have a Zamboni opening the door and, running over the coaches to get off the ice. We don't have that here. So we have the facilities and the infrastructure. So those three things are everything. And again, I built this program based on what I would want for my daughter. How did she get to where she got to? Winning an Olympic gold medal. Yeah. Quite frankly, winning at every level that she's been at. And so, of course, she had assistance along the way by me, but the infrastructure that we have here is exactly what I would want for my daughter.
Yeah,
100%. Great question.
Thank you.
Yes.
And how have you seen coaches change over the course of your coaching?
Coaches change or players?
Coaches.
Coaches change?
Like style of coaching. Could you find, someone that, like Callie's high school coach, would you be able to find that kind of coach now?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of great people in the game. I think there's a lot of people out there that are coaching that are underappreciated, overlooked, but yet spend tireless amount of hours doing all the little extra things, conversations and meetings, and just positive reinforcement about things, questions about, just basically maturing into a grown adult, which we do a lot of it here. I think they're out there, and I think there's a lot of great people that are coaching hockey teams, in coaching in general, and I hope they continue to coach, because coaching is a challenge nowadays.
Yeah.
It's highly scrutinized. It's a profession where you gotta have a thick skin, and you have to be in it for the right reasons. And the right reasons are, the end goal is, again, you're helping, mature, grow, develop, a human being, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that job is so crucial, like teachers and doctors, and I throw coaches right into that, because
Yeah, absolutely.
they're involved in that developmental stage where it means everything for their future. So, and I'm hopeful that, again, people will continue to want to be part of coaching, because I'm concerned that a lot of people will shy away from it because of the scrutiny and all the other things that come along with it. So, yeah.
Do you think there are people that in your mind you would be like, yes, this person would make a great coach, but then you ask them and they're like, oh no, I could never
Well, I've
coach?
had many of those conversations.
What's that wall like?
The wall is, again, open. Do they want to dedicate themselves to other people? And sacrifice themselves, a lot of themselves for somebody else, because that's what coaching is. I mean, 30 plus years for me, I've dedicated a lot of time to other people's problems but my own.
Mm-hmm.
So, that takes a unique individual, and that unique individual has to be willing to do that. You become, a part of a lot of people's lives, and that's the wall. And that's a decision that, when you get into something like this, you have to make that decision. That's what you want to do. You truly want to put people above yourself. And so, yeah, that's the biggest wall that I'm finding, again, talking and interviewing younger coaches, to make sure that you have to understand that that's really what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And as a player or maybe a former player who just got done with playing, that wants to get into coaching, with someone that has that playing experience but doesn't yet have the coaching experience yet, but wants to get to that point, what would you tell them, and what do you kind of look for in those people that would make them a successful long-term coach?
Well, if we're talking specifically how you work, for me, it's really, I mean, and I'm so ecstatic that I have former players now working for us, and coaching for us. And I think that, being a genuine person, and again, having, that part of you, is so important. But if you genuinely are a terrific person, you can be a good coach.
Yeah.
And because you'll care for other people.
Yeah.
And I know I keep saying that, but that's the job. Coaching ice hockey, I mean, if you've played it your whole life, you've been part of it your whole life, you'll be able to teach the basics, the fundamentals, and the different systems. But the people part of it is the hurdle, the toughest part of the job. And like I said, you guys, when I have those interviews, I'm just saying, look, when you come here, it's not about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's about your team and how you're going to make these kids better. And yeah, that's the hardest challenge. But I welcome that. I welcome that inexperience, because the only way you get experience is to dive right into it. Yeah. And get your feet wet, and get behind a bench, and again, make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah. Switching gears a little bit to the rule changes in junior hockey specifically, what would you say has been one of the biggest things?
There's no contact anymore. There's no hockey looks like, to me, like it's become a contact-less sport.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I could sit here and we could have arguments for hours about good, bad, pros, cons, but
yeah.
It's essentially, from a refereeing standpoint, they're calling every little stick infraction, every little thing that looks like it's loud or violent, it's a penalty, everything. So I think it's becoming contactless. So therefore, it's becoming a more, like I said, puck possession skilled type of game. And that's obviously the biggest change that I've seen from day one to day now. And it's a reflection in the players. The players, we use the word grit a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And the word grit isn't really relevant a lot anymore. Mm-hmm. You would replace it with skills. Mm-hmm. But it's nice to have a player that has a combination of both grit and skill. I think that's really what the ultimate player that's going to be successful has to have.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, to me right now, there's a lot of skill, not a whole lot of grit. And that could be just, again, the environment in which, again, we're creating, and that's basically no contact.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that creates a like less tough player to not eliminate, but to dramatically decrease that level of contact in the game? Do you think it makes a player soft?
I don't think. I mean, toughness and softness and things like that aren't defined in terms of contact and things like that. I think toughness and gritty. And I always tell my guys, I don't need you to go out there and lay somebody out at center ice or to be known as tough or gritty. You just need to win your battles. And I think.
Yeah.
I think, gritty to me now is winning one-on-one battles, being a first guy in a forecheck, wanting the puck on your stick, wanting to be that guy in the last minute of a hockey game where, you want to get out there and make a difference. You just relish in those opportunities. That's the new define of gritty, to me anyways. Maybe it's always been that way, but as far as toughness and things like that, I define toughness as, again, a kid who just wants to be out there and just compete. Because, again, there's one puck, right? So when there's one puck, it's about who wants the puck the most. And that defines toughness for me now.
Yeah. And as a player maybe who is kind of in their younger, more developmental stages of hockey, how would you say, what kind of route would you as a parent guide them down to, get to a point where they are playing Division I college hockey or high level hockey, knowing the changes that you've seen and what you're seeing now and who is successful?
Yeah, so I mean, I just go back and I talk about facts and what I can prove, right? So again, I'll go and look at players that either have been successful that I've been part of, my daughter that's been successful, and myself and what we did as players. So I tell parents this all the time. Number one, I would again look at everybody is doing off ice conditioning.
Yeah.
Strength and conditioning now are just so paramount in the game.
Yeah.
Back when I played, I'm not going to date myself, but it was sand weights and a bench and do some curls, and that was really the extent of it.
Right.
But everyone's working out, and strength and conditioning, which again is just a huge portion. So that's number one. And number two, again, there's some terrific skills instructors out there that do a lot of great stuff with skills, and we have one of them in Fred Hine. Shooting is something that, again, you can always have a good shot. So there's all those two off-ice elements can be worked on. Your skills can be worked on. I think in the summertime, and I agree with all the old school people, we're playing way too many games in the summertime. Way too many tournaments, just absolutely non-consequential tournaments that means absolutely nothing. I think that's a waste of time and money. I think that players could spend that money working out. Mike Boyle, Boyle Strength Conditioning, they can work out with our Paul up here, Paul Andre in our training center. All the off-ice stuff that they could be doing. And that's where the money needs to go. And so, again, I would focus on that. And, again, like I said, when they're out there choosing their program, again, experience, history, facilities, and coaching. I mean, those are the three things. And, that's what I do with my child. I would recommend that people do that with their children as well. I mean, this hockey game costs a lot of money, a lot of expensive things associated with it. We need to put our money where we'll get the most benefit, where our child's going to get the most opportunity to reach their potential. So that's what I would tell them.
And the last question I have, if you're talking to younger players or even your NCDC guys who you're trying to get to emulate some of the top players, who are 2 or 3 NHL players that you're like, watch this person? I
always appreciated watching Patrice Bergeron. I mean, again, because he's just so accountable on both ends of the ice. I mean, he's a player that, he would do all the little things, win faceoffs, be below pucks, be in the D zone, the last guy out, sticking up for teammates, blocking a shot. He's one of those guys where, again, if you're going to emulate somebody that can do everything well.
Yeah.
And then obviously he had a skill set. So I always just appreciate him. I talk to my guys a lot about him. Maybe not this year because he's retired, but at the end of the day, he's one of them.
Right.
And so, I don't, other guys that you look at that, that have just tremendous offensive upside and skills. That's terrific. But Patrice Bergeron to me was the best all-around player that I've seen in past 15 years. And I tell guys, if you're going to watch somebody, watch him.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I would just say, hey, look at this is, again, where we're in November 1st. And for all the hockey parents out there, take a deep breath and understand this is a long season, and enjoy every moment that you have, and understand that this journey only comes around one time. It goes by quickly, and please don't get frustrated or negative. This is hockey's a great sport. It's something that, like I said, I've been blessed to be part of. I've experienced some of the most wonderful things as a coach, player, and as a parent. And I hope that everybody out there just enjoys every moment watching this son and daughter play hockey. So,
Awesome.
Thank you.
Love it. Thank you.
Thanks.
We will be back in 2 weeks.
You look taller than me. This telephone book or something.
Maybe raise the chair up. My chair is like the same height as yours, though.
Ow! Now I'm bigger than you.
Aw. Okay.
Yeah, that's way better.